In this video, let's take a look at the different compressor modes available on the tracks. On the channel strip tracks, you've got three different compressor types. There's the leveler, the compressor, and the limiter. And they all act slightly different due to their application. What is common to all three of them is this threshold control that's right over here. This is next to the fader, so this sits on the compression section here, and you can grab that threshold and pull it down to increase the amounts of compression that's happening. Then next to this is a meter that's showing the gain reduction from the compressor. I'll show you this soon, but let's just go over the rest of the parameters first. Now, this dial over here, it's different depending on what type of compressor mode you're using. But for the leveler, it's a compressor speed or ratio dial. It's labeled just attack here, but basically by increasing it, you're increasing the length of the attack time. So it can help you tighten up the transients on your audio. Then up here, you've got the makeup gain. So no matter which mode of compressor type you're using, there's always going to be some form of gain reduction when the compression is happening. So using this to make up for that gain reduction. And then finally over here, this is where you turn the compressor on and off. And let's just go through these other modes again and just go into more detail on them. So with the leveler, as you can see, you have this attack dial. The way of thinking of a compressor is you can either level the transients in a sound or extend the sustain like the limiter will with the release. So let's talk more about the different modes. This leveler compressor is probably the mildest of the three compressors. And the way you can think about it is this is the mode that uses the least amounts of compression. Then you've got the compressor, which is a bit of a harder compressor, and then the limiter, which is the most extreme form of compressors from the three. Now, the leveler acts more like a gain riding control. It has a very low ratio and it's very transparent. And it works particularly well on instruments like vocals and bass guitar. It has quite fast attack and release settings. So let's just check this in action. I'm going to jump over to the editor and just set a loop area. So I'm on that guitar track. So let's just zoom out a bit and let's maybe set it from chorus 2 to guitar solo. So I'm going to go to the loop range and insert a new loop range here. And I'll start the loop back and we can just test something on the compressor. So going back to the mixer, I just want to show you how this works. So I'm going to solo this track and then start the loop. So it's a leveler. And when I start pulling down the threshold, you can see some gain reduction happening over there. And then I can increase the makeup gain, compare before, and then choose a different compression speed or ratio. Here it will kick in a lot faster. Where over here, the compression is a bit more subtle on the attack. It takes a bit longer to kick in. Awesome. So that's the basic gist of the leveler. The compressor is a more aggressive compression. It has a higher ratio. The attack and release are adjustable with this one knob over here, because as you can see, it also acts as a compressor speed ratio. So basically, if you go here, you have a shorter attack and release. And the more that you increase it, the higher the attack and release settings are. And this works actually pretty well on guitars. Sort of extends their notes or gives them a sort of pumping effect. So let's listen to this. I'm going to pull the ratio all the way down and pull the threshold up, take away the makeup gain, and let's play that again. Increase the ratio, pull the threshold down. You can hear that's a more aggressive compression. That's a makeup gain. Jump back. As before, and now with the compression. You can hear it's actually accentuating those attacks on the guitar sound and really just pushing up the lower levels in that track. Now let's check out the limiter. Now, the limiter is the most aggressive mode. It has a really fast speed setting and can work really well at taming peaks on sounds. And it works particularly well on percussive sounds, like drums and even acoustic guitar. I'm going to use it on this guitar track again, just so you can hear it within context to the other two modes that we used. Let's pull the threshold all the way up, drop the makeup gain. And I just want to hover over here. And this also acts as a compression speed ratio. But as you can see, this is dealing with the release. So the leveler is the attack. The compression is the ratio. And the limiter is the release. So basically, this button is acting like a multi-purpose button depending on which mode you set. So leveler is attack, compressor is ratio, and limiter is release. So you can actually use this to sort of sustain or extend the notes on sounds. So let's hear it within the context of the guitar. Pull the threshold down. You can see there's a lot of gain reduction happening when you pull this down. Extend the release. That's just giving you a demonstration of how that works. Awesome. So that gives you a very quick rundown on the different compression modes that you have on these tracks. Now, moving across onto the mix buses. These are pretty similar. You've got your three modes. The only difference is that you've got the extra mode of being able to do some sidechain compression. So with this, you use another source as the reference for the compression. For example, maybe there's a bass guitar, and with the bass guitar, you want to use the kick as the source. So whenever there's a kick hit, there's a slight drop in the bass when the compression kicks in. So giving more space to that kick in the mix when the low instruments like this are playing together. And it's just a great way to create some space in a mix. So you probably know that bass and kicks will probably be competing for the same area. So using a technique like sidechain compression is really going to help just open this up in your mix. And I will get into this method later in the series. And also with the master bus, this is pretty much the same. You've got a leveler, a compressor, and a limiter. So that pretty much functions the same as the other tracks. It's only the mix bus that's slightly different with the sidechain compression. So that gives you a bit of understanding on the compression modes that are available in Mixbus. Now, in the next video, I just want to explore one more little other way of adding a different type of compression into your tracks. Catch you in the next video.